Adam Gillespie with Rancid and Sweaty Calves coming at you with yet another video. And in this one I'll be covering the Twitter files. This is going to be a little bit more of a serious piece of content than I would normally cover, because normally I'm covering little things like pop culture and the wokeification of everything that was once decent and good in terms of storytelling and creativity. As for the Twitter files, this is a complete and total travesty upon the election process of our country, the way that people operate in regards to political affiliations, and the potential realization that there was an actual coup that occurred against the sitting president, Donald Trump, back in 2020. So, we'll start off with this thread, the Twitter files. What you're about to read is the first installment in a series based upon thousands of internal documents obtained by sources at Twitter. The Twitter files tells an incredible story from inside one of the world's largest and most influential social media platforms, and its Frankensteinian tale of human-built mechanism grown out of control of its designer. Twitter, in its conception, was a brilliant tool for enabling instant mass communication, making a true real-time global conversation possible for the first time. In an early conception, Twitter had more than lived up to its statement, giving people the power to create and share ideas and information instantly without barriers. As time progressed, however, the company was slowly forced to add these barriers. Some of the first tools controlling speech were designed to combat the likes of spam and financial fraudsters, which is good, but inevitably it turned out to be bad. Slowly over time, Twitter staff and executives began to find more and more uses for these tools. Outsiders began petitioning the company to manipulate speech as well, first a little, then more often, then constantly. By 2020, requests from the connected actors to delete tweets were routine. One executive would write to another, more to review from the Biden team. The reply would come back, handled. Celebrities and unknowns alike could be removed or reviewed at the behest of a political party. Both parties had access to these tools. For instance, in 2020, requests from both the Trump White House and the Biden campaign were received and honored. However, this system, it wasn't balanced. It was based on context, because Twitter was and is overwhelmingly staffed by people of one political orientation. There were more channels, more ways to complain, more open to the left, well, Democrats, than the right. The resulting slant in content moderation decisions is visible in the documents you're about to read. However, it's also the assessment of multiple current and former high-level executives. Okay, there was more throat clearing about the process, but screw it. Let's jump forward. The Twitter files, Part 1. How and why Twitter blocked the Hunter Biden laptop story. On October 14th, 2020, the New York Post published Biden's secret emails and expose based on the contents of Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop. For those of you who don't remember, Hunter Biden's laptop was essentially given away at a pawn shop, where the owner said, hey, Hunter Biden gave me this, and it's got a bunch of weird, disgusting child pornography on it and a bunch of other crazy things. Would you guys come mind and check it out and, see what you can do, since I don't want this in my shop anymore? And the FBI decided to call it fake, even though it was totally authenticated. And it was authenticated by, what was his name? He was a sitting governor. Now, it'll come to me later. Twitter took extraordinary steps to suppress the story, removing links and posting warnings that it may be unsafe. They even blocked its transmission via direct message, a tool hitherto reserved for extreme cases. An example, child pornography. I understand. I understand to a certain extent. We don't want people to see the child pornography that was on Hunter Biden's laptop, but it wasn't even that. The contents of Hunter Biden's laptop were not being shared through direct messaging. It was the story about the New York Post expose on Hunter Biden's laptop that was being censored and kept off of direct messaging and not being allowed to be posted. White House spokeswoman Kayleigh McEnany was locked out of her account for retweeting about the story, prompting a furious letter from Trump campaign staffer Mike Hahn, who seethed. At least pretend to care for the next 20 days. Kayleigh McEnany has been locked out from her account for simply talking about the New York Post story. All she did was cite the story and first-hand reporting that has been reported by other outlets and not disputed by the Biden campaign. We need an answer immediately on when/how she will be unlocked. Also, don't appreciate how nobody on this team called me regarding the news, and that you'll be censoring news articles. As I said, at least pretend to care for the next 20 days. This led public policy executive Caroline Strom to send out a polite WTF query. Several employees noted that there was tension between the communications and policy team, who had little/less control over moderation, and the safety/trust teams. Strom's note returned the answer that the laptop story had been removed for violation of the company's hacked material policy. Although several sources recalled hearing about the general warning from federal law enforcement in summer about possible foreign hacks, there's no evidence that I've seen of any government involvement in the laptop story. In fact, that might have been the problem. The decision was made at the highest level of the company, but without the knowledge of the CEO, Jack Dorsey, with former head of legal policy and trust, Vijaya Gadde, playing a key role. They just freelanced it, is how one former employee characterized the decision. Hacking was the excuse, but within a few hours pretty much everyone realized that's not going to hold, but no one had the guts to reverse it. You can see the confusion in the following lengthy exchange, which ends up including Gadde and former Trust and Safety Chief Yoel Roth. Comms official Trent Kennedy writes, "I'm struggling to understand the policy basis for marking this as unsafe." By this point, everyone knew this was effed, said one former employee, but the response was essentially to err on the side of continuing to err. Former Vice President of Global Communications Brandon Borman asks, "Can we truthfully claim that this is part of the policy?" To which the former Deputy General Counsel Jim Baker again seems to advise staying on the non-course because caution is warranted. A fundamental problem with tech companies and the content moderation, many people in charge of speech know/care little about speech and have to be told the basics by outsiders. To wit, in one humorous exchange on day one, Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna reaches out to Gadde to gently suggest she hop on the phone to talk about the backlash RE speech. Khanna was the only Democratic official I could find in the files who expressed concern, meaning that the rest of the Democratic officials who were observing this didn't care and actually preferred that their antagonist forces, which were actually the good guys in the story, the Republicans, be censored totally. Meaning that they don't actually care about free speech. They don't care about the ability to say whatever you want, as they've claimed in the past. They want to censor everything that they possibly can that disagrees with their political view, even if it means a potential pseudo-rigging of an election. I'm not saying that they stuffed the ballot boxes. I'm not saying Twitter employees were directly responsible for Biden being in office, but they did certainly play a hand when they censored stories that could condemn and vilify the character of the Bidens. Gadde replies quickly, immediately driving into the weeds of the Twitter policy, unaware Khanna is more worried about the Bill of Rights. Khanna tries to reroute the conversation to the First Amendment, mention of which is generally hard to find in the files, and within a day, Head of Policy Lauren Culbertson receives a ghastly letter/report from Carl Szabo of the research firm NetChoice, which had already polled 12 members of Congress, 9 Republicans and 3 Democrats, from the House Judiciary Committee to Republican Judy Chu's office, Representative Judy Chu's office. So, that's the first installment of the Twitter files. I know I'm a bit late to cover this, but I did want to wait until a lot of information came out so that I could figure out what was going on, so that I could kind of track better. So, this is a pretty intense situation that we find ourselves in. We found out that the CEO, Jack Dorsey, was unaware that his company was being used to essentially fund and coerce a bunch of Americans into supporting a specific political ideology that has a huge amount of dirt on it, but because Twitter censored it and decided that they were going to stop the spread of the actual legitimate talking points, the legitimate news regarding these individuals and their sittings, their actions in the past, Twitter has played their hand. They have shown that they are very, very much so filled with the intention of positioning a certain political view in office rather than actually letting the truth come out. They would rather lie to get their guy in control than tell the truth and let the cards fall where they may. That is not a good sign of what a political party should be. And this right here is great news for everyone who ever believed the truth, but were told that they were just conspiracy theorists and whack jobs. Congratulations, you have been vindicated. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment down below your thoughts, share this video out there with your friends. It's a very, very important thing to do right now. Share this video out there everywhere you can, because this is hugely important. The news coming out of the Twitter files is a massive, massive thing. Also, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss a single video that I upload. And check me out on Rumble, Patreon, and Twitter. I leave links to those in the description below. I hope you guys have a great day and a great rest of the week.